The United States Secret Service, USSS, is a federal law enforcement agency under the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, tasked with protecting national leaders, visiting foreign dignitaries, and safeguarding the nation's financial systems. The Secret Service has grown into one of the most recognizable federal agencies, particularly for its protective missions. But its origins lie in combating financial crimes and securing the integrity of the United States currency. This essay traces the history of the U.S. Secret Service from its creation in the mid-19th century to its modern roles and responsibilities. The origins of the Secret Service date back to the aftermath of the American Civil War, a period of significant social, political, and economic upheaval. The Civil War, 1861 to 1865, had drained the nation's resources, severely impacting the U.S. economy. Among the many challenges the country faced, one of the most pressing issues was the rampant problem of counterfeiting. The circulation of counterfeit currency had grown exponentially during the war, reaching a crisis point by its conclusion. Before the Civil War, the United States had no uniform currency. A patchwork of state-chartered banks issued paper money, which contributed to economic instability. Counterfeiting was relatively easy, as there was little standardization, and enforcement of counterfeiting laws was weak. However, during the Civil War, Congress passed the National Banking Act of 1863, which established a uniform national currency in the form of federal banknotes. These banknotes were meant to stabilize the economy, but they quickly became a prime target for counterfeiters. By 1865, it was estimated that 1/3 to 1/2 of all currency in circulation was counterfeit, threatening to undermine the nation's financial system. This economic instability presented a significant problem for the United States government, which was already grappling with the costs of Reconstruction in the South and paying off war debts. It became clear that the federal government needed a dedicated law enforcement agency to combat the proliferation of counterfeit money and restore trust in the U.S. financial system. The United States Secret Service was created on July 5, 1865, when President Abraham Lincoln, on his final day alive, signed legislation establishing the agency as part of the Department of the Treasury. Ironically, Lincoln's authorization of the Secret Service came just hours before he was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. While the Secret Service is now best known for its role in protecting U.S. presidents, it did not have this responsibility during its early years. The primary mission of the Secret Service at the time of its inception was to combat the widespread counterfeiting of U.S. currency. The agency was initially tasked with investigating and apprehending counterfeiters, forging a critical role in ensuring the stability of the American financial system. The importance of the agency's mission cannot be overstated, as counterfeit currency undermined the value of legitimate money and eroded public confidence in the nation's economy. The first head of the Secret Service was William P. Wood, a former Union Army colonel who had earned a reputation for investigative work during the Civil War. Under Wood's leadership, the Secret Service began its mission with just a handful of operatives who were responsible for investigating counterfeiting operations across the country. These early agents traveled across the United States, infiltrating criminal organizations and gathering intelligence on counterfeiters. The small, decentralized nature of the Secret Service's early operations reflected the broader limitations of federal law enforcement at the time. Despite these challenges, the Secret Service was remarkably effective in its early years, reducing the circulation of counterfeit currency and arresting hundreds of counterfeiters. Its success helped restore confidence in the national currency, allowing the United States to stabilize its post-war economy. By the late 19th century, the Secret Service had become a well-established agency within the Department of the Treasury, and its reputation for effectiveness in combating financial crimes continued to grow. While the Secret Service was founded to combat counterfeiting, its responsibilities soon expanded to address other financial crimes. As the United States industrialized in the late 19th century, financial crime became more sophisticated, with new forms of fraud emerging. The Secret Service began to investigate cases of fraud involving treasury bonds, government contracts, and other financial instruments. The agency's investigative expertise made it the logical choice for handling cases of government fraud, and it continued to play a crucial role in protecting the integrity of the U.S. financial system. The Secret Service also gained a new, unexpected role in 1894, providing informal security for the president. This shift in responsibility occurred after the assassination of President James A. Garfield in 1881, and a growing recognition that the U.S. president needed better protection. Garfield had been shot by Charles J. Guiteau, a disgruntled office seeker, and died from his wounds after months of suffering. While the public and political response to Garfield's assassination was initially muted, The subsequent assassination of President William McKinley in 1901 would prove to be a turning point. President McKinley was shot by an anarchist, Leon Czolgosz, while attending the Pan American Exposition in Buffalo, New York. McKinley died 8 days later, and his assassination shocked the nation. In response, Congress formally tasked the Secret Service with the responsibility of protecting the President of the United States in 1902, solidifying its role as a protective agency. This marked the beginning of the Secret Service's dual mission: protecting the nation's leaders and securing the financial system. The Secret Service's protective mission grew significantly over the 20th century, as the threats faced by U.S. presidents and other high-profile officials became more complex and dangerous. The assassination of President John F. Kennedy in 1963, despite Secret Service protection, profoundly impacted the agency and led to substantial reforms in its operations and strategies. Kennedy's assassination exposed gaps in presidential security, particularly during public appearances. He was shot while riding in an open limousine during a motorcade in Dallas, Texas, a situation that made him highly vulnerable to an attack. In the aftermath, the Secret Service implemented significant changes, including more rigorous security protocols for presidential motorcades, public appearances, and travel. The agency also improved its coordination with other law enforcement agencies and intelligence organizations to identify and neutralize potential threats before they materialized. In 1965, Congress passed legislation making it a federal crime to threaten the life of the president, further expanding the Secret Service's protective mandate. Over time, the agency's protective duties extended beyond the president to include the vice president, the president-elect, visiting foreign dignitaries, and, in certain situations, major presidential and vice presidential candidates. The Secret Service also became responsible for the security of the White House, the vice president's residence, and other key government buildings. The modern Secret Service uses advanced technology, intelligence gathering, and tactical expertise to safeguard its protectees. The agency employs hundreds of special agents, uniformed officers, and technical experts, all of whom are trained to respond to various threats, including assassination attempts, terrorism, and cyber attacks. Additionally, the Secret Service collaborates with the military, the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, and local law enforcement agencies to provide comprehensive security for major events, such as presidential inaugurations and state visits by foreign leaders. While the Secret Service's protective duties are its most visible function, the agency continues to play a critical role in investigating financial crimes, including counterfeiting, fraud, and cybercrime. As financial crime has evolved with advances in technology, the Secret Service has adapted its operations to address new threats to the U.S. economy. One of the most significant developments in recent years has been the rise of cybercrime, including hacking, identity theft, and credit card fraud. The Secret Service's investigative division has taken the lead in combating these crimes, working closely with other federal agencies, financial institutions, and private companies to investigate cyber attacks and prevent data breaches. The Secret Service's Electronic Crimes Task Forces, ECTFs, established in 1995, are key to this effort, bringing together law enforcement, academia, and the private sector to combat cybercrime and protect critical infrastructure. In addition to cybercrime, the Secret Service continues to investigate traditional forms of financial fraud, including credit card fraud, wire fraud, and money laundering. The agency's expertise in financial investigations has made it a valuable partner in international efforts to combat organized crime and terrorism financing. Secret Service agents are stationed in embassies around the world, working with foreign governments to investigate transnational financial crimes and protect the integrity of global financial systems. In 2003, the Secret Service was transferred from the Department of the Treasury to the newly created Department of Homeland Security, DHS. This move was part of a broader effort to consolidate federal law enforcement agencies under DHS in the wake of the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks. The Secret Service's dual mission of protection and investigation made it a natural fit for DHS, which is tasked with protecting the United States from a wide range of threats, including terrorism, cybercrime, and natural disasters. The transition to DHS allowed the Secret Service to strengthen its focus on national security while maintaining its traditional financial crimes investigations. Under DHS, the agency has expanded its partnerships with other law enforcement and intelligence agencies, both domestically and internationally, to address the growing complexity of threats to national security and the financial system. The Secret Service faces several modern challenges as it continues to adapt to evolving threats in the 21st century. One of the most pressing issues is the rise of cybersecurity threats. which pose significant risks to both the financial system and the nation's infrastructure. The Secret Service has increased its efforts to combat cybercrime, but the rapidly changing nature of technology presents an ongoing challenge. Additionally, the agency's protective mission has grown more complex in an era of global terrorism, political polarization, and high-profile public events. The Secret Service must continuously refine its strategies to ensure the safety of the president and other protectees while maintaining its investigative capabilities. The U.S. Secret Service has evolved from a small agency focused on combating counterfeiting into a multifaceted organization with responsibilities ranging from protecting national leaders to investigating financial crimes. Its long history reflects the changing needs of the United States as it has confronted new challenges in both the security and financial realms. From its beginnings in the post-Civil War era to its modern role in an increasingly complex world, the Secret Service has remained a critical institution in the defense of the nation's leadership and financial integrity. As new threats emerge, the Secret Service will continue to play a vital role in ensuring the safety and security of the United States, adapting to the ever-evolving landscape of national and global security. Thanks for watching Techie Millennial. If you liked the content, like and subscribe. Why don't you help us keep content going?